right? We ain't taught to love ourselves, right? So coming out of slavery, even when the mother would whoop the baby because she didn't want the slave master to get a hold to him, you know. So a lot of the violence, and then a lot of us want to solve things by violence. Like the brother said earlier, you know, if the woman says something to me, he doesn't have any critical thinking. He doesn't have any tools. So his only tools is, man, let me do something to you. So this is a part of us, why I say us coming together to re-educate ourselves and to know that, hey, man, brother, you ain't got to use violence, you use this.
Change our culture.
The mind and the pen, brother, is so powerful than the gun. I'm not saying, you know, that has its place, but the mind and the pen. I heard a scholar say this one time. He said, look up and look within. A lot of times we don't see that the answer's within ourselves and with the Creator. A lot of times we look out and we want something, other people to solve things and to do things, and it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen because it hasn't happened. And for you to keep asking for it to happen, to me, is a little insane. So what I would say with the violence is, we got to get into us and know that that was taught. I think like the brother said, you can't be afraid to go. Brother, I go, you know, I go to the projects, brother, and try to do a little bit I do. And I go by myself. You know, I have no, because here's my thing, brother. I'm dead already. Allah knows when I'm going to die. So what is it to fear? And a lot of it is that. Now, when you had integration, the more educated brothers, you know, like with some of us, we were able to move. So what did you leave in the community? You left a lot of hard-working people, undereducated people, and then you put the drugs and you put the guns in there. Well, brother, they know what that mix is. It's just like you making Kool-Aid. If you go get you some tropical punch Kool-Aid and a cup of sugar and you put it in the water, you mix it all up, you already know what it's going to taste like. You already know because you got the ingredients for it.
Everything that we talked about, economics,
it's
education.
There. They already know it, brother.
Structure.
It's there. The thing is this, we're being fooled, right? Because we keep talking about the same thing, asking them to change it. And then unfortunately, brother, we have people that look like us, right? Mm-hmm. Whether they're educated, political figures, that it's about their own self-aggrandizement. It's about them building themselves, building their own wealth, and it's not about the community because you know what? You'll speak truth to power. You would say, like for instance, brother, we're going through this thing with Trump. Don't vote for Trump. Trump is this, and that. I don't know what Trump is. I don't like a lot of stuff the man said, but I know what Hillary has done. I'm talking about what I know for a fact what she's done. So you know what the educated brothers tell me? Man, forget all of that because what Trump said is so good. Well, brother, how about if I don't know neither one of them? It's like when George Bush came out when they had September 11th. He said, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. And I thought to myself, I said, well, what if I don't want to be with none of y'all? I don't want to fly planes into a building, and I don't want to go kill people. I don't want to be with none of y'all. All that shit is evil. It's evil. So I'm saying, man, that's what we have to get the mindset. We act like if Trump get in there, he's going to do what? And if Hillary get in there, brother, you know, sometimes with policies, right? Like you're talking about this 30-year thing. That started with Reagan. Sometimes, brother, it take that amount of time to see actually what's going to happen. That's why I say they don't do things overnight. We just discover them overnight. These are things that they have been done, and until we can come to that mindset, all this stuff, man, is given to us. We have to really, really get into ourselves, love ourselves, because when I look at you, I should see me. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that your friend is a mirror, right? And he also said you're going to be resurrected like with your friends. So I should want to be around good people. I should promote good things, you know. And it's nothing, brother, some things we have to speak up. We have to be men, especially the older men, right? Sometimes we want to be young like the young folks. I say understand where the young folks are coming from. Understand the music and all. Don't be the guy to go and condemn them. Oh, man, y'all, because that's what happened to us, right? You'll get a lot of rebellion. Try to understand where they're coming from, but also, man, brother, those are vessels that want to learn and want to not. They just don't know. They just don't know. And why I know that? Because I was him. I was him. Brother, look, my mother ended up in a wheelchair. I was 11 years old. Brother, I got in trouble when I was young and got committed to TYC. Yeah, I was a ward of the state. At one time, brother, before I became Muslim, I wanted to go to prison. Literally, I wanted to go to prison. Why? Because the neighborhood I came from, The guys that got all the respect was the guys getting out of prison, they lift weights and they look good and all the women want them. That's what I seen. When I was about in the 7th grade, I realized, because Tony Dorsett was like one of my childhood heroes. I realized Tony Dorsett wasn't coming to my neighborhood. Well, Whit was in my neighborhood. and that is, I'm saying that is what we have to rethink a lot of stuff. Brother, it's like we've been filled with a lot of stuff, and you got to take all that stuff out. And you got to keep rethinking and keep rethinking and keep, because this stuff is embedded in us. This stuff didn't just come overnight, and you're not going to get rid of it overnight, right? But to start talking about it like we're doing, that is a start. And it doesn't mean, hey, Cedric may not agree with everything I say, maybe my methodology. But you know what? Because he may have his own. But he may say, hey, you know what though, brother? Because I support in terms of the goal. Maybe not necessarily the method, but the goal. Here's $20 to your struggle.
Right.
Kevin, I don't agree with this, and that, but brother, here's $100. No, I'm saying that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. We got to do it ourselves. We ain't going to get no subsidies. We ain't going to get we have to do it ourselves. Just like you was talking about the banks. Put the money in the banks, right? And hold the banks accountable for giving black people loans. But they also got to come with a good plan. Don't think just because you're black, you're going to walk in there. Because also, we got to be serious. This is serious times. We got to be serious about business. Like you said, I want to get this here tape. I know a couple of brothers, I'm going to call this brother, and nobody called you back, but you wanted to put the money in the African-American's hand. So you had to research. Alhamdulillah, you found it. But the brothers that you knew, that you went to school with, say that they did this, you got to be serious. If you really are serious and about uplifting, because guess what? They don't care whether you do it or not. You got to care. We got to care about ourselves if we're going to stop the violence and do these things. I'm sorry, brother.
Great. You want to go in on the violence?
Well, I'll say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that if you are sitting at home and watching what's going on with us, then you are a part of the problem. And so, with that being said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called 10,000 black men to fearlessly, and women, fearlessly go into the communities and stand between the rival gangs and their guns. He had to use the term fearless because we are afraid of the youth, our children, and we are afraid of white folks. That's a hell of a position to be in. Let me give you an example. Here we are, as you see in the media, they've been twisting Black Lives Matter movement and turning it into calling it a terrorist organization, trying to link the Nation of Islam into it. The police shooters, they were trying to say they were members of the nation involved. The aim there is to make black folks afraid to stand up for themselves. And so, but if you look at it on TV, we call it Black Lives Matter movement, but the majority of the folks that is in the movement are white. But with that being said, from my experience here in the city of San Antonio, in the sticks, starting in that neighborhood, because the FOI, the members of the brothers in the FOI had been in every so-called gangsterhood in this town to reach out to our young brothers that are gangbanging, so on and so forth. And a few of them have, and I'm saying this humbly, alhamdulillah, that they see me as their mentor. One brother in particular, he is a blood. And he was doing some things that I won't say because this will be on Facebook, but on Facebook, and he was flashing, if you will, and he was threatening another group. And so I contacted him inside of Facebook. I said, boy, you call me I just talked to him regularly. You call me your mentor. Well, let me say this, as your mentor, cut that BS out. because you are setting yourself up to be, not only you're going to be killed by a cop or killed by them brothers that you're talking noise to. Cut that crap out, man. As your brother, I'm telling you, I've been there for you in rough times, man, and I'm still here, and I love you, and I want you to do better for yourself. He comes back around, he deleted the video, and he told me, he put another video out. I just want to apologize to my mentor and to the brothers in the Nation of Islam for what I was saying. You know, I was wrong for that. I won't do it anymore. But this happened because of this relationship that we built. We, the FOI, went into the neighborhood in the sticks. We know all of the youngsters that are so-called banging. This is how we greet them. What's going on, black man? How you doing? Notice the movement. How you doing, brother? Showing hugs.
That's right.
Brother, man, we love you, man.
That's
you know,
right.
Brother, you got to do this. Brother, do you know who you are? You are the original man, the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Notice I use the term God. You are indeed a God created in the likeness and the image of God himself. The Holy Quran says that you have the attributes of Allah in you. And if you have his attributes, then who are you? A small version of him. You are indeed God. The Bible says, I've said ye are God's children of the Most High God. Well, if you were created in his likeness image, then you God. Why are you spending your time being the devil? Man, you right, bro. I didn't know I was God. I said, yeah, you God at what you're doing. You God at selling crack. You God at brandishing that gun. You God at wearing your flag. You a God of all that. You made this neighborhood so other people terrified to get in it. Now, what if you turned it around and built something for your people? Man, that's real, man. I ain't never heard that before. So we come back into the neighborhood after a sister was murdered. We go back into that same neighborhood. This time our wives were with us. We were at that restaurant. And my wife had never experienced this before. We got out of the car. It's like 300-400 youngsters. And most of them had on red. They were Bloods. And so we walking, my wife was like, whoa, wait a minute, y'all leaving us. Oh, we not leaving y'all. The other brothers with y'all. Slow down, babe, you need to be careful. Oh, no, this is my family out here. So we walked in, and they were, hey, brothers, giving us hugs. My wife was like, oh, my God. One after the other, they giving us hugs, tapping us up. Our brothers, you can hear them there. The brothers are here. Our brothers are here. And we got over to the brother, the individual whose girlfriend was murdered. And, of course, he was a Blood. He was planning to retaliate. But by God's grace, we were able to connect with him to stop him from doing it. And he totally relaxed from the whole idea of retaliating. With that being said, it was formed because we were willing to go into that neighborhood with our brothers, put our lives on the line in the face of those guns that they have and that other rival gang had, and show them love without preaching to them, but just reaching out to them, spending time with them. And we build a rapport over a period of time. So now that when we show up, they're like, oh, they're the brothers, they're the brothers, they're the brothers. That's what's got to be done with every organization, every church, every movement has got to pool together, and we got to go back into those hoods and talk to the youngsters and teach them how to put the guns down. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And I can tell by the way you talking and the way you talk, y'all had a little background. We poured some foolishness into the community. Now, I maybe not bang, although some might say yeah, but I had family members that did that, and I was with them. And with that being said, I am responsible for what little portion I participated in. It's responsible for those children that are out there killing themselves, that I need to go back in the community and reverse the effects of the stupidity that we poured into the community. We got to teach those youngsters how to build. Man, we got to teach them how to build things for our community. We got to teach them to police their own community. Imagine if there were 10,000 San Antonio black men in the community saying to the police, you can't come in with this. No, sir. Y'all will not come in our hood, and you will not disrespect our mothers. You will not disrespect our children, and you will not kill us. Stay out of our neighborhood. Oh, that can't be done. Well, when I grew up on the east side of Austin, Texas, in a neighborhood called Booker T. Washington Projects. And in those projects throughout the 70s and the 80s, I was a little boy in the 70s and 80s, the police were not allowed to come in our neighborhood. And they would not come in the hood unless we said so. We can do that here,
Now, when you
but
get
not
into-
violently.
You get into a different thing with the police,
Yeah,
and that's part of the violence that's in our
yeah,
community.
yeah,
That's a touchy subject to a lot of people.
yeah, absolutely.
They don't see it as police brutality or police violence because of the way we're projected in the media. Every time a cop pulls up on a brother,
Right,
he's fearing for his life.
right,
That's the quote that they use.
right.
And we know a lot of this because is BS because we see videos
Sure.
where one guy, he ended up suing the police force. They broke his window, punched him in the face.
Yeah.
He kept his hands on the steering wheel.
Right.
All the while the cop, they rammed his car. They said that he rammed their car trying to get away, but he pulled over. Cop came and rammed his car. Another one came from the side.
Right.
They converged on him, punching him in the face. And he's like, why are you doing this? They like
Right.
getting, and they saying, all the while they're saying, hitting him, stop reaching for my gun.
Right.
But what they messed up was one of the police cars was facing the front of the vehicle where he had both his hands on the steering wheel.
Wow.
And the guy punched him in the face twice, snatched him out the car, pulled him out. Cops went to court. They lied about the testimony until the video camera showed that they were lying. But one of the things they were saying was they assaulted him because he tried to get away. They charged him with attempted capital murder, saying that he rammed their car. And that's why they were so forceful with him, because I mean, he had bruises and they broke his window. They said he was fighting, wouldn't get out the car, but the videotape showed different. Now, a lot of instances is happening where videotapes, I don't want to say vindicated, because just showing us what's happening. But to a lot of America, you said this earlier, every time something happens with an altercation with a police officer, video camera showed that the police officer was in the wrong.
Yeah.
We hear, well, all cops are not bad. That's the only profession that I could think of where if you say, when they say something, a school teacher did something. In this school district, I don't want to name school districts, they say in this school district, this teacher had sex with a kid. You never hear people come out and say, well, all teachers aren't bad. You know, but they don't defend all teachers. All teachers don't come into it. They're worried about that particular teacher doing that particular crime. But when we talk about the police, because it's somehow projected as the police against Black America. When you talk about Black Lives Matter, a group that's getting together speaking about injustices,
Right.
that's a civil rights movement, and injustice. But
Right.
they're somehow adding fuel to a fire that's supposed to be going on. But they don't have, the fire is going on already. So the police being a part of violence in the Black community is a total different subject. Brother,
Man, that's, woo, police. Here in San Antonio, they had a police officer that raped a transgender male.
What?
They had and these are just little instances, brother. You can open up the paper, you can find many things. In, I believe it's Oakland, California, they had 4 police chiefs resign in 10 days. And what happened is that this one officer ran up on this sister. She was running from her pimp. She was 17 years old. So instead of him taking her to a shelter, you know, so she can be, well, he took her and he became okay? And what started the investigation, he ended up killing himself, because of whatever happened. I'm just saying that to say this. Like you mentioned about the teacher, if you go to the doctor and the doctor does some medical malpractice, first of all, he has some insurance, but they have consequences. Now, you don't say, hey man, this doctor here, this, whatever, he could be a podiatrist or a neurosurgeon, whatever. You don't say, hey, this neurosurgeon, he messed up my head, you don't need to see no, like you said, we talk about him. And he has consequences. Either he loses his license, he pays, right? But I would make the argument the same thing is for the police, except when they take a black life. Because if they rape a woman, I knew a guy, my son was playing football, and this guy, his stepson was playing, and I didn't know, brother, because some things I just don't keep up with locally. But his brother had raped a woman. He was a Balcony Heights policeman. And how they found it, they found the DNA in the back of his, so they did an investigation. The brother's in prison, okay? It was consequences. Or maybe he's out now, but it was consequences. When it comes to taking African Americans' life, brother, I don't think we're talking to them and telling them, brother, they don't see you as a human being. I don't think we've come to grips with that. Look, man, when they choked Eric Garner out, and everybody like, hey, can't breathe and all that. Brother, when I see that, I'm gonna tell you what I seen. I seen a brother that was 6'4", 300 pounds. I seen him as a human being, but I'm looking at them. That's an animal to them. And see, my thing is this, brother, you can get the cameras, you can do all that. We should have known that with Rodney King. Brother, they beat the hell out of Rodney King, broke all kind of stuff, eye socket, bones, and you know what they told us? He was resistant. And still to this day, will hold that up. Man, he was resistant. Just like Trayvon Martin, brother, the guy, he's going kid coming home. And you'll have people that argue, well, see, yeah, he was right until he started fighting and beating up Zimmerman, but this guy was following him. So it has to tell you, man, with these laws and stuff, it ain't for us. Your life, really, literally, is not valued. And until you understand it, now, not that it's not valued to us, that's why I'm big on, we need to come together and get us together, because to me, it's like, me and you talk about this analogy all the time. That's a fine woman over there. Man, she look good, but she don't want you. Why are you still trying to pursue her? And she don't want to be with you, but you still trying to, that's going to be sexual harassment, right? So that's what we're doing. You keep coming up with the same things. My thing is this, even the brother had mentioned about Martin Luther King earlier, the last couple of years of his life. But people talk to civil rights. Only question I have, brother, if it ain't worked, all the stuff you're telling me, why you keep telling me to do it? And as African Americans, and this is my message to the youth, don't keep doing this stuff these old people keep telling you to do, because it ain't working. Unless somebody can come to you and prove to you that it works. It's like taking martial arts, brother, taking Wing Chun. And if his sensei can prove to him, right? Or you can prove to me, brother, that this right hand, to throw this right hand, to use this technique, then that's proof. Right? I can't argue against proof. I look like an idiot. But brother, you can't prove that. And every little things that we did get, somebody else benefited from it. Other people have been, look man, we got immigrants that come right here today, and they look at us as niggas. Because somebody said, well man, I don't understand about the immigrants. Do you really think that they're going to let people come into this country? I don't care if they look like you, they can be from Jamaica, they can be from Africa. And we're going to let all these people come in and get with the oppressed. No, but they're going to let people come in that carry out their system. Just like they let some of us in there that carry out their system. This stuff is systematic. So here's the thing. Unless people are talking about consequences with the police, then brother, we just talking. We're just talking. All that, whether they good or bad, I don't get into the majority. Some of us got family. I got a cousin, man, that's a policeman in Houston. We got family members that's in the military. Some of us have done these things. Nobody, we understand logic. You talking to me like I'm illogical. Well, no, man, you talking, ain't nobody said all police. Just like ain't nobody said all white police. Look, back in the day, well, you know, brother, the white one's trying to show off for the black one. Now, who said that? Who said that? They just made a movie about it. Who said it? NWA said that.
Right, Ice Cube.
The black one is trying to show. So we already understood, brother, it ain't about the color. It's about the system. Yeah, and then part of that system is when an incident happens, no one looks at it for its base. No one looks at it and say, right and wrong. Am I looking at right and wrong? They're looking at it as soon as, well, police officer, and then it's like, well, I had a post earlier. It said, in America, you're black, you're guilty until proven innocent. And that's the perception
You
that
can
it
make
is
that
in
case,
America.
yeah.
Because automatically, instead of me looking at an incident, I don't look at it and say, well, white cop killed a black person, and if I see something, I say, well, that brother shouldn't have reached for that. I say, okay, well, he shouldn't have did that. You know, if I see a black person, he trying to do this to a police officer and he gets shot, I'm like, yeah, he shouldn't have did that. We have common sense.
Common sense, that's right, brother.
Where if I see a brother running and he gets shot 6 times in the back, and then I see the police officer go over there and throw his taser down on the ground because he don't know somebody's filming it, and then he says, well, he took my taser from me, tried to taser me, so I fear for my life. Why am I getting in a conversation with somebody else that's saying, well, why was he running? Blah, blah, blah. You look
Like
at
a justified killing.
Yeah.
Justified killing. Yeah.
And that actually happened. I had a conversation with somebody, a white person come up and say, well, you know what? If he didn't have anything to worry about, he shouldn't have been running. I didn't know running from somebody put the person that you're running from life in jeopardy. That they would have to use.
Can I add something to that about the running? Man, when I used to hang out in my younger days in the Wheatley courts,
Mm-hmm.
and brother, we from the same area, and the police would come, and we would run, okay? Now, I would run. I ain't had no drugs on me, brother. It was just out of habit. That goes to the education. Out of habit, it's 5-0. We got, we just do it. And like you said, brother, common sense. Yeah, brother, if you shoot back, somebody gonna shoot at you. Yeah, we understand that. And that ain't what we're talking about. We're talking about you doing something to people for no reason. We're talking about you taking a young girl, and I shame us for this. Because to me, how can you be a man, especially with children, girls, and you see this cop, I don't care what color he is, throwing this little girl around like she's a dang on doll or something, and you're not man enough to stand up. See, the thing is a sacrifice. Are you willing to lose? Are you willing to lose your job? Are you willing to lose your life? Somebody lost their life, but you will be remembered for that. But you don't want to be remembered with the rest of the cowards.
And going back to your question, first of all, let me say thank you very much, brother, for inviting me to the second event that you had. I really appreciate for you for considering me and being strong enough that you don't give a damn what nobody says. I'm inviting the Nation of Islam. Secondly, I want to apologize for my long-winded passion, but black people are my passion, and that's just who I am. I'm going to say something because I love you, and I love this that we're doing. That's going to get me in trouble with my wife. I'll be sleeping on the couch, but you might have to edit this part. My wife works in law enforcement. She's a licensed police. Her brothers are both, one's a detective, the other was a sergeant. And we've had discussions. They love their people, let me say that. And they're not those kind of cops. And so with that being said, I didn't say this to them, but I've said this to others, to police officers, that say, what about police lives matter? Well, I say to the so-called good cop, why don't you say to the bad cop or report the bad cop for the crap that you know that person is doing? You're just as responsible because you're not speaking up against the bad cop that's making your police department look bad. I would agree, we agree in the Nation of Islam that it's 1% of the police department that is corrupt. But the good cop, if you don't speak up, you're just as corrupt as the bad cop. So, the Honorable Elijah, the solution to all our problems concerning us being attacked in our community is this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our woman is disrespected in our community. He said our community is disrespected, period, because we don't come together in unity to make others respect our woman, to respect our community as a whole. He said, lastly, he said that our unity is more powerful than any nuclear weapon. It's the people that have the power.
I just want to say that. I don't know about that 1%, brother. I just printed out.
Some is 10%.
No, brother.
20.
See, here's my thing. When we get into the argument about that,
Yeah.
I say the majority of them. And here's why. Because if you give me the DOJ from Ferguson, I got that. The DOJ from Baltimore, they did one in Albuquerque, and you know they did them, and they find things that's systematic. I'm talking about what people are using over their radios, talking about, this calling us names. I mean, so to me, if you come and you find something that's systematic, then tell me it's in the system. Now, what I do believe, I think the majority of people that go into law enforcement, I think they really want to do the right thing. I think the majority do. Even though it was a town in Florida where the whole police force, they were like with the Klan. Just facts.
Right.
Okay, so I believe that, but once you get in, it's just like going to school. You want to go to school on Thursday, got my backpack, got my little Superman lunch pail, but then when you get into the system, you're like, this ain't for me. You know, so when you go into law enforcement, you realize, just like they talk about black people and snitching in the hood, brother, the biggest thing I think is the police. They don't tell. And the stuff that you're doing, to me, why I say it's the majority, because if all this stuff is going on, then where are the good cops to say anything about it? So what I do believe, brother, the 1% may be the good ones, or the 10% may be the good ones, or the few good ones. Because my thing is that, how do you have all of this just going on and on and on, and nobody says anything, and then we debate about black life? When you take my life, we debate that. We don't debate nothing else, we debate that. We debate that, and then we bring up everything that's negative about me. You sold crack, you didn't pay child support. All these things we hear about the victim. Guess what? You ain't hear about that cop that he had some racist posts.
Right.
You ain't hear about that cop, he had some tattoos, that was the KK. You ain't hear that though.
Especially if that's what your job is.
Right.
Your job is policing. You
Protect
gotta
and
police
serve.
yourself just like you police everyone else. And to go on to that, the incident at Penn State with Sandusky, the child molestation, they got rid of paternal. And if you are a teacher or any profession and you see one of your colleagues raping a kid, killing a woman, and you don't say something, you're held accountable. Right. If I walk outside and I see one of somebody, even if I don't know the dude that's doing it,
Right.
and I see him raping a woman and I keep walking, and they find out that I was there and I witnessed the crime and I didn't do anything, I'm going to be held accountable.
Right.
Just like the person that's culpable
That's
for the
a
crime.
fact.
But
That's a
if
fact.
I'm riding in a police car and I see one of my
That's a fact.
partners commit a crime,
Right.
and I don't say anything about it,
Right.
or I give false testimony about what happened,
Right.
or I refuse to cooperate,
Right.
then I need to be held just as accountable. It's not about
Right.
being a cop. My record personally,
Right.
I'm automatically a bad cop. I'm automatically a bad person if I see somebody being raped and I don't say anything about it. I'm automatically a bad person. But we can't get into who's a bad cop and who's a good cop.
That's when the 1% become 50%.
Yeah.
You don't say nothing.
You remember the brother in California that they killed? I think he was a sheriff that worked for the Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And he
when
ran
he
in
was
the
killing other cops.
and he see what I would tell people, man, read some of the manifestos. That's why sometimes I post the things that I post, because I just think, man, like I said, if people have information, you know, not that you have to read everything, but whatever's going to be good for you, especially subjects like this, you want to work with a good source of information to have a better understanding. Because like I said, man, if you keep asking for the same thing and keep thinking the same thing is going to happen, it's not going to happen. And here's the thing, police got a hard job. Hell yeah, they have a hard job. I can tell you a job harder than that. Go work at Stop and Go. and be a clerk at Stop and Go. That's a hard job. Now why I say that? Because brother, you ain't got no gun. Do you realize how many drunk people come in there and curse you out? How much you threaten? right?
These people try to rob you.
I work in the medical field,
Well, they just
right?
stop and go.
People throw urine on you, spit on you. You know, sometimes they have brain injuries, right? But they give you tools to work with. I can't this patient over here, blah, 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 so I need to do something, no, brother, you get fired if you do the wrong thing. And see, what I'm saying is that, why do we keep making these excuses for them? They got this hard job. Brother, any job where you're working with Joe Public is a hard job. Not only that, I know in San Antonio, they just concluded the deal with the police. Brother, if you look at the college, the medical, all the stuff that they get, not only that, they keep talking about training. Well, for a doctor, people in the medical field, social workers and stuff like that, they have to get CEs, continuing education, you know, to renew their license. So to me, you should continue to be getting training, but training ain't the deal. We're not looked at as human beings. You're doing things to us, and it's no consequences. It's no consequences. You know, it's just like if I skip school, it's a consequence. If I talk back to my mother, you know, I'm gonna get slapped in the face. You know, consequence. It has to be consequences for what they do. And here's the thing: people say, "Well, man, they kill more white people than black people." Blah blah. Could be true. Not percentage-wise. It's not.